This is Keith Thompson of Reformed Apologetics Ministries. In a video, the Islamic apologist Adnan Rashid stated that if he could be shown that 7th century fragments or partial codices of the Quran Muslims possess have differences with the modern 1924 Cairo edition of the Quran that they read today, then he would leave Islam and become a Christian.
We have parchments of the Quran exactly the same as the Quran we read today in our hands. Yes. There is no question about the Quran. These are parchments. This is tip of the iceberg. From the 7th century. Yes. Handwritten. If he can point out one difference from this manuscript with our Quran which we read today, I said that I will become a Christian.
In this video, I will prove the 7th century Quranic fragments and partial codices do have variants, differentiating them from the modern edition of the Quran Adnan reads today. Thus, he will have to leave Islam, as he promised. In the lower or earlier text of the Sana palimpsest manuscripts, or Sana I as it's sometimes called, which is an incomplete codex comprising about half of the Quran, dated possibly to the 7th century, there are many variants differentiating it from the standard 1924 Cairo edition of the Quran Muslims use today. For example, the lower text of this early Quran disagrees with the modern edition of the Quran in Surah 2, 196. Here the Sana palimpsest says, "Do not shave until the offering reaches its destination," while the modern edition Adnan reads says, "Do not shave your heads until the offering reaches its destination." In the same verse, the Sana palimpsest says, "Fasting or alms or an offering," while the modern edition says, "Fasting or an offering." In Quran 2:201, the Sana palimpsest says, "Our Lord, give us in this world and the next," while the modern edition says, "Our Lord, give us good in this world and good in the next." Siddiqui and Gudrazi list many more variants in this manuscript which affect the meaning of the text. Well, what about other 7th century fragments and partial codices? The 8th century St. Petersburg Hijazi manuscript, which many Muslims falsely claim is 7th century, part of the word "he listens" was erased and then later written over to then read "they listen," which is how the 1924 Cairo edition of the Quran, in use today, reads. What is interesting is "he listens" originally in this manuscript is probably accurate, and the "they listen" of the modern Quran Adnan reads is probably not. This is because the preceding word, "he who," ordinarily suggests a singular object, as in this manuscript, not a plural object, as in the modern Quran Adnan reads. Moreover, in the late 7th century or 8th century partial codex called BNF Arabi 327, in Quran 2386, it originally lacked the word al-Saba, which means the 7, a word which is in this verse in the modern edition of the Quran Adnan reads. This early Quran was later changed by a scribe to then include the word, bringing it into conformity with the edition Adnan reads. So originally, this manuscript did not read as the modern edition reads. BNF Arabi 328, which is a partial codex scholars date to the late 7th century or early 8th century, in Quran 3171, there is an eraser overwritten where the word favor is added later by a different scribe when it was not originally there. So while now it is in conformity with the modern edition Adnan reads, originally it was not. Therefore, we have met this challenge and shown differences among these early fragments and codices compared to the Quran Adnan reads, the standard edition. And so he's going to have to, if he's honest, make good with his promise and leave Islam. Thanks for watching.